Hi, I am Mickey Clements, and I used to make stuff like this. So this video might be a bit more talky and rambly than I would normally make a video, because the actual meat of this video is just one very simple idea. But there is quite a few things that I kind of want to talk about and mention, and I don't want to try and like script it, and I don't want to keep taking multiple takes saying everything over and over again. So I'm just going to try and do it. And I guess I'll edit out any major pauses or anything like that, and we'll just see how it goes. And one of the key things I want to start off with is patience. Now, I'm a pretty patient guy when it comes to most things. One big exception, I think, is with glue. Now, when I say that, the first thing you might think of is that how long glue takes to dry. And yes, definitely, I love super glue and activator because it bonds instantly, and hot glue is great too. But of course, depending on the glue gun, it can take a while to get up to temperature, which is kind of allegorious to what my main issue with glue is, and that is how long it can take to actually come out of the bottle. Now, brand new bottle of glue, it's great, it's gonna come out immediately, but you only get a brand new bottle once, and once you start using it, it's gonna take longer and longer for it to come out of the bottle, because it has to flow to the top, obviously. That's one of the main reasons that I made my glue bottle bucket from one of the first videos I did. It's just a bucket that's weighted with kind of a felt insert, and it just allows you to take your open bottle of glue and just drop it into the bucket inverted. And the fabric mesh in here prevents it from leaking too much, and it just allows you to just grab it and drop it. Because of course you can, set it on its side, which will definitely help get the glue out quicker, but that's not exactly natural, and I always end up just setting it upright because that's kind of how the bottle is designed. So having the bucket is a bit more natural to just kind of drop it in, and you can definitely build up a rhythm to doing that. But again, you're still probably gonna do that just because that's how the bottle sits. And then it drains down, it's like, ah crap, I forgot to put it in there. Now, one solution to all of this has been the glue bot. I haven't used mine too much. I actually left it like open or whatever, and I didn't use it for a long time, and actually a big wad of glue just got dried out in the bottom. And I don't know, one day I woke up and suddenly had the urge to try and get it out, and spent like 40 minutes fishing this out of there. So that was fun, but I did get it all out. It pretty much looks as good as new. And also, setting up for this video, I just realized that you can take the spare top. This is kind of made to like run along the edge of the board. It's kind of a cool nozzle, but it fits in the lid. And I was even thinking, I'm like, can I make something to like attach this? Or too bad they didn't have it so it could screw onto the top. And then I noticed there's an indent on the top that this fits on perfectly. So they already pretty much thought of everything with this little device. So it holds like, I don't know, quite a bit more than a standard 16 fluid ounce bottle. And so basically the design of it supposedly kind of gets around the whole waiting for it to go issue, because it just like allows it to push up higher than the level of the glue is, so you can actually get glue out of it pretty quickly. So it's a pretty good design, and I think it's kind of just the standard thing to get, and you just buy a big gallon of glue and just fill it up and you're ready to go. But of course, it is still nice just to be able to just grab a bottle of glue off the shelf and just start using it. And plus, if you use a lot of different glues for different things, you're gonna buy like 6 or 7 glue bots for all the different glues. I mean, sure, there's an option, they're not that expensive. But my other problem with your standard glue bottle is the nozzle. I honestly don't understand why this became the standard tip. It honestly seems over-engineered to me. And I mean, if you always remember to close it, I mean, it works pretty well, but I mean, we always forget to close the glue. And if you're lucky, it'll just make a thin film on the outside that you can just pick off, and then you're good to go. But eventually it's gonna this whole area is gonna get clogged, and then you have to rip it off and like work all of that out of there. and then hopefully you can get it back on without like bending the little plastic piece inside. It's a weird tip. I don't, like, what advantage is there to this tip, really? Versus just, you know, just a nozzle and a cap. Certainly that's easier to manufacture, no? Less materials, you could save money. Like, why did we settle on this weird design? It's also, you know, hard to pull. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I mean, they pretty much all have it. I mean, even the Elmer's glue twist lid is still kind of strange. Maybe I like this slightly more. I mean, it's certainly a little bit easier to twist versus pull. I mean, I guess they don't use that for wood glue because you want to be able to squirt out a little bit more, and usually you're putting it in a row or on the edge. So it kind of makes sense to have that flat opening. I guess that's why they don't use this style nozzle on wood glue. And again, they probably use this screw nozzle because you can't unscrew it, so you can't ever lose the cap. And mostly kids are, you know, using this style of glue. And if the cap could just come off, they'd probably eat it or lose it. But again, changing the nozzle still doesn't solve my main issue, which is getting glue out of the bottle. Now, other liquids in bottles have solved this problem. This new bottle from Dawn for their dish soap is honestly incredible. It just uses basically just a check valve, and there's no cap. You literally just pick it up, squirt it out, and set it back down. And it doesn't leak or anything. It's amazing. I've been using it for months, and I absolutely love it. It's a huge game changer. I mean, like I said, you know, it's only seconds we're talking about here, but just immediate soap, and it saves seconds that can accumulate over time. And it's honestly just satisfying to be able to pick it up, squirt, and put it back down. You never have to take off a cap or put a cap back on. It's awesome. Now, it is slightly more expensive to buy this bottle, so I say just buy one and then just buy their normal bottle and fill it up and save yourself a few pennies. It's your pro tip of the day. But it got me thinking, could this bottle work for glue? So I got an empty one, and that's the main thing I want to do today. I just want to put some wood glue in here and see if it would actually work for glue. So I'm going to put some Titebond 1, just your standard generic run-of-the-mill wood glue. I figure this versus something like Titebond 3 or something like sandable glue that actually has wood particulates will probably stand the best chance of making it through this check valve. Okay, so now we get to find out if this is not only a huge waste of my time, but a huge waste of your time for watching me talk about my grievances with glue bottles. Well, it goes through. It totally works. And you can be pretty precise. That was my one thought, is that, you know, the nozzle allows you to put it exactly where you need it. And here, you know, you do have to kind of hover it over a bit, but and you can get it where you need it. And of course, if you need glue in a really precise spot, you can always just squirt some out and brush it on, or use a toothpick, or put it wherever you need it. So far, that's awesome. The big question is what happens when it just sits? So like if we leave this for 2-3 hours, is glue going to dry in that nozzle and then not come out? So that's the big test. That is honestly really cool. I did half expect nothing to come out, like it to just be too thick. So that's really cool. But I have this silicone mat here that I'm going to set it on just to try and give it like the best chance to like maybe kind of seal around the edge to maybe it won't dry out. I also have the other inverted bottle, the ketchup bottle, which honestly I don't understand why every bottle just isn't like this. Is there like a patent for like the inverted bottle that like you'd have to license and pay like a licensing fee to use? Like, is that why every bottle doesn't have this? Because someone's like bogarting it and ruining for the rest of us? Because I don't see why this won't work. This one, I mean, the check valve in here is much bigger. So this is gonna work with any glue. So why aren't glue bottles in this at the very least? I feel like there has to be a reason, because I know this is gonna work. And I'm just gonna do this just because I know that it will work. So that does squirt out a lot more glue than this. I mean, it lets out quite a bit of glue. But I mean, yeah, you can still squeeze it pretty lightly and get out, you know, a smaller amount. I mean, you could make a smaller check valve for this. Like, why aren't glue bottles like this? That just makes so much more sense. Now, yeah, this one has a cap, which means it's definitely not going to dry out, but it's one extra step. Whereas this? It's just awesome. But yeah, like, at the very least, just put all your glue in these inverted ketchup bottles. I mean, that's just, it's so much better. Okay then, so I'm just gonna leave this here for, 3-4 hours. We'll come back and we'll see if it still works. And there's actually like, there's some glue in there. I'm not even gonna clean it out. I'm just gonna leave it there and just see what happens. Because if we can come back after 5 hours, pick it up and still use it, then that's awesome. Now it might be a different story if like we leave it like that, but even so, I'm just gonna test this first and then we can go from there if we want to do any more tests. But so far, I'm really excited. It's very promising. Again, I love this bottle. I think it's just so cool. And I know, it's just a soap bottle, but it makes if you haven't used one and you do dishes by hand, it just makes a huge difference. That's all I can say. And so I think it's really going to change the game for glue. And it would just be amazing to start seeing some inverted glue bottles. I seriously don't understand why there aren't any. At least any that I've ever seen. Cause like even for super glue, I store all my super glue inverted just so that I can unscrew it and glue right away. Cause especially with like the gel stuff, you're sitting here for a long time waiting for glue to come out. So I just always keep it inverted, but eventually I'll set it upright and you're screwed. Why? I don't get it. You use it this way. Why is ketchup and dish soap the only ones getting to do this? Okay, it has been several hours since we let the glue bottle sit. It works. It doesn't care. Yeah, that's awesome. And obviously that works. So I'm just gonna do one like final test. I guess like worst case scenario, what happens if you just leave it like that? Like how hard is it to pick that out? Will it damage it? So I'll let that dry. Maybe it'll just pop out with like pressure. You can just pop it out or something even. So we'll see. But I mean, if you just set it down, set it upright like you normally would, yeah, totally works.
Do I look like I just woke up? Okay, it is the next morning. This has been sitting all night, and it's definitely a glob of dried glue in the nozzle there. So let's see what happens if we just try. Yeah. So it's totally blocked the nozzle. And I just picked it out with a toothpick. And there we go. Good as new. That's fantastic. So even if you do leave it flipped over and it gets glue caked on, the rubber in there, it'll peel right off and you're good to go. This is awesome. I'm going to get more of these and just put all my glue in these bottles. And that's just so great. Immediate glue every time. Why is the inverted bottle only for ketchup and now Dawn Dishsoap? Any goopy liquid should have an inverted bottle option. it's got to be some sort of bogarting patent money issue. Because why not? Why wouldn't you just use it? I'll pay more. I'll pay more for the better bottle. Until then, I'll just do it myself.
This isn't even my first time talking about inverted bottles on the channel. I made these 3D printed shampoo holders. I use those every day and they're still fantastic. Instant shampoo, ready to go. It drains it to the very last drop of the bottle every single time. That's one of the better things I've ever printed. So if you haven't tried this new inverted bottle of Dawn Dishsoap, I highly suggest you go out and get one. Get two, that way you can fill one with glue. You're gonna love it for both doing dishes and squeezing glue, because that never gets old. And if you don't like Dawn, you can always just get the bottle once and then refill it with whatever you like. Something less expensive, something more expensive, just a different brand. And I've refilled this like, what, a dozen times already, and it still works just as good as new. So it's not like this nozzle wears out or anything. The bottom line, life is precious. Don't waste a single second of it waiting for glue to drain to the bottom of the bottle. Instead, waste it watching my video. My sincere thank you for watching. Once again, I am Nick D. Clements. If you're wondering, Nick is short for Nicholas, and the D stands for dishwasher. Ah, see? Because I've probably done Dawn before. Anyway, I'm off to make something else. How long it can take to actually come. It's going to take longer and longer for it to come. Twist versus pull, because you want to be able to squirt out a little bit more, and it kind of makes sense to have, pick it up, squirt, like it to just be too thick. You're sitting here for a long time waiting for. That's what she said.